Well, hello everyone. Today I'm here with Jack. Jack took part in our Lean Six Sigma Green Belt training some time ago. It's been a year since Jack completed the training, and as far as I can tell, the project that he delivered has brought some, well, incredible results, shall I say. So Jack, thank you for joining us.
No, not a problem.
Excellent. So why don't we just jump straight into it? Could you tell us a little bit about your role before you took the Lean Six Sigma training?
Yeah, so I was working for Balfour Beatty on our West Sussex Highways contract. So I was effectively managing the sort of reactive routine side of the contract. Yeah, that was it really.
Okay. So that leads to my next question then. What motivated you in the first place to get your interest into the Lean Six Sigma Green Belt?
To be honest, a few people on the contract had done it already. So like the feedback was really good as to what the outcomes of the course were. And over my time within West Sussex, I delivered quite a few different sort of innovation projects, etc., but never done any sort of formal training around it. So I wanted to kind of understand how to see that bigger picture, if you know what I mean.
Okay. Well, I have to be honest, I cannot help myself but mention your project. Obviously, as part of your Lean Six Sigma training, we also looked into improvement projects within your contract, and the one that you completed was, well, I would say that these days, I think it's one of the winners, top three or top two even, when it comes to the volume of cost savings. We went over what, £700,000, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was around 750.
That's quite impressive. Can you tell us a little bit about the project?
Yeah, so I mean, to be honest, we were struggling with a high number of safety defects that were coming in. So needed to try and find something that was going to bring that number down. I mean, we obviously have like sort of traditional methods of two-man gangs going around and filling potholes primarily. So the idea was to sort of try and find some form of innovation that could carry out them works and reduce the overall number. So obviously looked into spray injection patching, managed to find a very, very good company that carries it out, named Velocity, brought them onto the contract to see what we could do, carried out a few trials with them, and then sort of implemented a much larger overarching trial and looked at where we could sort of develop them within the contract to basically give us best value. Really what it done was it sort of increased the productivity, but also allowed, because of the type of work they do, allowed us to put them in front of the local authority highways inspectors to effectively fix defects before they were a defect.
Okay, well, to be honest, that sounds quite complex to me, although I am aware of the details because we work on this together. But for people who don't know, this is all done as a part of the Lean Improvement project that was delivered after the course was completed.
Yeah.
Now, going back, if you could reflect on the training itself and think of something that was the most beneficial aspect of it for people who are, still undecided, should this be the way for them to move forward? What was the main benefit to you?
I think, to be honest, in terms of advice, I would say probably just have an open mind. I mean, from the feedback that you hear, you kind of certain words that are used, it sounds a little bit daunting, but when you're there, I mean, the way that in fairness, the way that you deliver it, the way that it was delivered, it opens up your mind and makes you think about it, as opposed to just sitting back and thinking, well, that's well over the top. But yeah, really, it gives you a much bigger oversight as to how to look into the project's improvements where things aren't quite right.
Okay, and just one last question. Just a year down the line, since you completed the training, what in your mind was the biggest impact on your professional career, professional growth coming out from this entire venture?
I think, to be honest, it probably gives it again sort of open my mind, but kind of gives me a greater overview of looking at things. So sort of looking at areas of improvement a lot more based on what we learned, as opposed to how I'd sort of previously operated.
Okay, now that's fantastic. Thank you for sharing your story, Jack. That's honestly appreciated. There are quite a lot of people out there who are, putting their first steps into continuous improvement, business improvement, and listening to people like you coming from the real life environment, giving real life examples on the improvements and the journey they took. I think that's going to help them a lot, making their minds towards the next steps in their professional career, but also the professional development, if you like. So
Definitely.
Again, thanks for sharing your feedback on this one, Jack. I appreciate it.
No problem at all.